Om Yutta, 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 Om Yutta. Om Yutta, 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 Om Yutta. Om Yutta, 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 Om Yutta. Om Yutta, 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 Om. Om Yutta, Om Yutta, Om Yutta, Om Yutta. Om Yutta, 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 Om Yutta. Just doing practice while the people interested are logging in. Kanakayutta, 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 Kanakayutta. Kanakayutta, 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 Kanakayutta. Kanakayutta, 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 Kanakayutta. Kanakayutta, 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 Kanayaka. Yutta, Kanakayutta, 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 Kanakayutta. Kanakayutta, 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 Kanakayutta. Kanakayutta, 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 Kanakayutta. Om Yutta Kanakayutta. Om Yutta Kanakayutta. Om Yutta Kanakayutta. Nefesh Galgalim Vishemesh Lemalkut. We are together, whoever follows this class. Breathe, observe inside, relax, and think about your own spiritual conviction. Nefesh Galgalim. Physically or as dense as possible in your vibrant plane. Feel it. Vishemesh. And embrace reality. Le Malkut. Do it for yourself. Then you do it to be in transmigration. Nefesh Galgalim Vishemesh Le Malkut. Just to bring us together. So there is two ways to accomplish ourselves. No, that's not true. There's only one or 20 million. There's two popular paths. I will say that. There's two popular paths. One path is called in Buddhism other power. So this is the path when you count on something else than you to accomplish yourself. Praise God, do mantras to Krishna to elevate in his higher consciousness. When you're doing mantras, to always be high in the energy. Always be transcending. That's other power. Like believing Jesus is your savior, or wanting to be in the pure land of Buddha. So the Buddhist pure land is other power. The pure land, I would say Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu for hours per day until they exist only in consciousness. That path can bring you to a form of self-realization, or at least nirvana, non-return. So you might reach a point to not have to reincarnate. However, you will not be accomplished yourself. You will be transcending in someone else's work, transcending in Krishna's consciousness, in Buddha's consciousness. Well, not Sakyamuni, because he taught it that way. He taught it go into the pure land, so just high consciousness. And Sakyamuni, when he taught to salute just Amitabha Buddha, or in Japanese, Namo Amida Butsu, to not believe that you are accomplished in Sakyamuni's heavens, but that you are just going high in consciousness. So all of this about other power will allow you to reach a certain point, and you continue to evolve at this point, slowly, mind you, but you continue to evolve, okay? So you have to consider the other aspect, which is self-power. Those who say, I'm not going to pray a God, I'm not going to be accomplished by someone else, I'm going to do it myself. And then you seek enlightenment, and you seek enlightenment, and do all your work, and you get glimpse of bliss and moments of feeling oneness, and you say, I'm making it, this is good, let's keep going. And basically, you're counting on yourself so much that it's too egocentric. You can reach a certain point, you'll have to come back. That won't even reach nirvana. You will come back. But you'll evolve, you'll transcend mystically, maybe take a little break from incarnation, but it's not going to be enough, okay? So self-power is this place where you are so into just yourself. I'm going to do my integration, I'm going to do my personal growth, my meditation, find God in me, and self-realize. But that focus is so on yourself that you're missing the point. You are not accomplishing yourself for yourself. You are not finding enlightenment for yourself. If you are the only objective of your enlightenment, that is too egocentric, and you won't reach enlightenment. If your quest for enlightenment is really because you're tired of the bullshit, okay, I want to stop suffering, I never want to feel pain again, what will happen is you're going to be in a quest for enlightenment motivated by a denial, by fleeing a reality of being here in this world instead of embracing its life. This stuff happens, it's life, okay? So the best way and the most efficient way is to find a balance between other power and self-power. So if by other power you want to be saved by a higher force, meaning you're lazy and you don't want to do the work yourself, it's not going to work. If you do it only for yourself, it's not going to work. So basically the balance is to find communion, or a third method is communion power. So you do all the work on yourself, but that includes being virtuous. That includes being in service to other people, wanting to help, wanting to be kind, compassionate, practice forgiveness, even if it's hard. We'll have classes on forgiveness to show how easier it can be done. But yes, it does break the pride and the ego to forgive. It doesn't mean that the others are right if they're mistaken. No, it just means, it's difficult. Okay. So basically, a part of the self-power, which is you will do your work on yourself and you'll do your spiritual practice. And a part of other power where you don't want to be saved by others, but you recognize masters that are more advanced and wiser than you, they can inspire you. And the feeling of transcending in the whole of the universe, to be one with all things and to be one with God, if this is how you perceive it, that too is part of the communion, is just to be one with everything. Now, the virtuous path, this is specific on communion power, or the way to accomplish yourself through communion. You do your work on yourself, you acknowledge what can inspire you outside, but mostly it is your behavior. It's really how you act. It's what you do every day. It's what you decide. And I'm not talking about what you choose to eat to save the animals that suffer. It is true that we should consider the suffering of the animals while they are raised. It's not about rejecting alcohol because of some guilt of losing your mind. We're not talking about that. We're talking about your actions. Open the door to someone so they can pass. Okay? They can just, I'm going to mute conversations as they come. Because this is just like, I'm literally bombarded when I'm online. Thank you. So that was the first comment I wanted to talk about in the satsang. If you are enlightened only for you, if you're just, I want to be done with the suffering, that's why I seek enlightenment. Well, it's too personal. You still don't have the understanding of caring for another, even though they don't recognize you. Let's do a little parenthesis on that. You hold the door to someone, and old grandmother passes by, unhappy. Maybe she's just a bitch. Maybe she wanted to hold the door herself. Maybe she doesn't like to be seen as a victim, okay? But regardless, you hold the door for someone, and instead of saying thank you, you say, go to hell. You're going to be hurt in your feelings because when you held the door, you were expecting a thank you. Therefore, were you really opening the door to be of service? Or were you doing it to purchase some attention back? You have to be careful when you are virtuous in your actions that your motivation is not to get some recognition out of it. If you get it, so be it. If you don't get it, so be it. In the Diamond Sutra, in the 4th chapter, the greatest joy and the most accurate feeling of contentment is experienced when you do a pure act of charity without any validation in return. Think about that. The greatest joy, the greatest feeling of accomplishment is when you can finally be without any expectation as a result of your kindness. It's very good to consider. Okay. In the Tao Te Ching of the Taoists, they would say the heavens and the earth are eternal because they don't exist for themselves. They exist for everyone. It's not egocentric. The sky and the earth are forever because they don't exist for themselves. They exist for whatever life it supports. Okay. So it is quite interesting to consider how emotional we become when we do an act of charity and how much we expect some return from that. It's not obvious because if you're lonely, you're going to do an act of kindness and all your loneliness will softly pull that attention inside. It will want it. You'll crave it. So it's not obvious. If you're disappointed lately, if there's something missing in your life, if you had a heartbreak recently, if you're uncomfortable during this little crisis having to be isolated at home, you're gonna need attention, right? You're gonna need that attention. So you're gonna do an act of kindness, and the attention will come, and then you'll be happy. Or the attention will come in a negative way. You'll be unhappy. But regardless, you will allow your happiness or your dissatisfaction, your suffering, to be in the hands of anyone who validates positively or negatively or give you attention. That's not freedom. That's not liberation. Okay? So often we think in our head, no, I'm good. Whatever they think, I don't care. After so many decades of personal growth, and I have moments where I care what people think of me, and I've discovered it is beautiful to have the humility to admit, oh yeah, I did feel concerned. I wanted some attention. I did hope for a feedback. Just be honest, embrace it. Be honest and admit it instead of just, I don't know, lying to yourself and pretend that everything's fine. Breathe in that. Take a moment to feel it. Can you at least admit, recognize it happens that you yourself are stuck with that kind of difficulty? Okay, good. This leads us to the next stage of this conversation. Okay, now that I admit I'm hoping for validation when I do an action of kindness, how do I let it go? Not obvious, eh? Well, the first part is to admit it. I mean, the more we work on ourselves, the more we're on the spiritual path, the more we're tempted to say, finally, I've done it. I am free from other people's opinion. This is the hardest part. Come on. The humility to admit it. It's so ingrained, we don't even see where it is. Let's say you don't care what people think. I don't care what people think. But someone comes to you and says, hey, do you know, Maha? The neighbor of the son of the hairstylist that cut the hair of your uncle, she said something about you. And then you go, oh yeah? What did she say? You know, you start, it's someone that is not even related to you. It's so far away. But the moment someone thinks something about you, immediately, oh yeah, what did they say? I'm curious now. I'm affected. Okay. You can pretend as much as you want that you're clear from all of that. The most beautiful secret is to look inside and feel, hey, do I actually give a shit about it? Do I need this? Or am I affected by what someone thinks somewhere? Just be honest. It's very difficult. Okay, so let's say you've done a decade of work on yourself and finally can admit again, after saying you didn't care what people think, you can admit again, oh yeah, okay, so maybe I am affected. I just didn't realize how far it went. Okay. All right, I am affected by what others think. How do I let go of that? Non-drama is a solution. If you ask a 2-year-old child to sit still for 15 minutes and not move, that child will freak out, or you will freak out. The child will not stand still 15 minutes. No way. You ask an 80-year-old person to sit still for 15 minutes. After 45 minutes, is it time yet? You know, they don't care. Because 15 minutes in 2 years is a certain proportion. It's completely different than 15 minutes in 80 years. Okay? 15 minutes for a 2-year-old and an 80-year-old is 40 times different in quantity. Okay? It's a completely different ratio of perception. Okay? So anything dramatic that happens when you're a kid, it is immense. It is awful. It is insane. And as you grow, it's, yeah, okay, it will pass. And when you're 80, that was life. You don't care. You're good. You've done it. Okay. Imagine if you knew yourself as a soul and your conception of experience was beyond a single lifetime. It was since forever you were streaming as Brahma through one lifetime and another. Imagine if your scope of consciousness was able to embrace what as a soul you felt in so many lifetimes. If you could do that, every single enormous drama in this lifetime would be insignificant. The ratio of time of one lifetime among so many others, it would not be dramatic. Okay? So once you admit that a true act of charity is to do it for being useful and not for getting validation, good, that's a good step. Now, if you can admit you still need validation because you feel lonely and unimportant and you're missing something, and sometimes it's greed. But I want this love, I want the attention, I want the money, the sexuality, the candy, the rich experience. Maybe it's greed. So, whatever motivates you, you will be seeking for that outside input to validate, am I doing well or not? It is going to happen. So then you do that step. Okay, it is true that I'm stuck with a need of the ego, and that's okay. How can I get rid of this? Or how can I alleviate it? By changing the proportion of your experiences. Instead of comparing each event to the lifespan you have, you compare it to everything you can experience as a soul. Now, to do that means to do transcendental meditation and personal growth. Okay? So you resolve things inside in a way that it will expand your consciousness, and you meditate with various practice to enrich yourself feeling as a being, as a soul, instead of just a limited addicted human. Okay? And then your soul will expand and it will expand your mind and your perception and even your feelings, and you will feel everything that happens in your life is a fraction really of the usual drama we have. Okay, so we've been through a lot of steps in this process so far, so I'll start over. Okay, if we want to accomplish ourselves only through the power of something superior, a superior being or the universal concept, whatever, we'll be missing ourselves. We will not incarnate that divine essence. We will just transcend in that reality. Something might be missing. It is acceptable to accomplish ourselves that way. If we want to accomplish ourselves only by ourselves, fully incarnate, there's something missing. Oneness with all things, to flow in communion with the universe. Because we become egocentric and we isolate in our spiritual path. We have great power. I have charged 7 million mantras, but I'm alone in this. I'm in, if you're just accomplishing for yourself, you're going to miss something. So basically, it's to find communion power, where you understand the true benefits of charity and kindness is anything that contributes to the whole. It can contribute to yourself too. If you give to others and you benefit, I mean, all of this is communion. It's not sacrifice, it's not just a sacrifice to give and to lose. It's for all to be happy, and all includes you. And sometimes we say we pray for the happiness of all living beings, but we don't include ourselves in that. Well, you have to include yourself. The goal is to not be exclusive to yourself. Like, I want to be happy, screw the others. Yeah, you want to be happy, but what if everyone could be? Bring your mind into the whole, the global perspective of every living being. Okay? So you harmonize yourself, other power, self power, communion power. Okay? So you are on a spiritual path then of communion, and you understand charity without validation. Good. Now admit you still need that validation, because it's gonna subconsciously rise. And as much as in your mind you try to convince yourself, I don't need validation from others, your actions will speak. Your feelings inside, your nightmares will rise. I mean, if you repress the truth, it's fun to be validated. It's fun. Just admit it when it rises. Cultivate that humility. So then you can forgive it, liberate yourself. First, you need to embrace it. Okay? Good. Now that this is embraced, how do you do it? How do you expand? Well, you practice being a soul. Okay, so if you exist only for yourself, you're a human ego. If you exist for the well-being of all, then you start to experience oneness because your perception, your vision is global perspective, and you start to exist for the benefits of all beings. Okay, I'll give you an example. Um, I charge the price of a minimum price of $9 per month for my online classes. And my advanced students, they scold me, Maha, some people sell these classes hundreds of dollars. Yeah, but I'm not here to make money. I'm here to pay my bills. And then when I was about to publish, I said, hey, let's just make it for free. And please, people, be reasonable and pay as much as you can to help me. But I'm not going to sell this wisdom for a fortune because my goal is for everyone to access it. So this satsang, this online class, is an example of what I can do isolated in my home while this virus, is resolved on the planet. I can contribute that way. So I do it. And then I hope I'll be okay in my life and I'll work on it. It's okay. I'll do my best. So this is an example of balance where we find a solution for everyone to be happy. And that's productive. Holding a door, you hold it. The person, whether they're happy or not, maybe they would, grandma might look at you with a grin, not happy, or so, oh, thank you, little boy, thank you. Maybe she'll be happy. Stick on the fact that you did it to be helpful. It's for another. Okay. If validation hits you, well, it was a pleasure, grandma. Just accept it. It's okay. That's nothing. It's not wrong to be validated. The problem is this addiction, this need when you must be validated to the point you might be disappointed or even angry at people who don't validate you. Let's say you do an extremely good work at work. The boss takes it for granted. Okay, do this next, move on. And you're expected like a pat in the back. I understand it would be fun, but are you dependent on that validation? Can you admit honestly, yes, I need it because I feel depressed when I don't have it? Good. Now you can work on yourself. Keep working then on actions of charity. At work, when I had a job for a boss, I always gave 5 to 15 minutes for free. Always. And everyone who complains, no, you should never work for free. And, these bosses, they abuse. I understand. I understand. They see you work 5 minutes more, they start to count on it. I don't care. I was grateful for the job I had. I gave 5 to 15 minutes after my time every single time because I could. I mean, once in a while I would stop on time because, that was work. But when it was needed, when it was useful, oh yeah, I'll clean up an extra table when I was working in a restaurant. I will, help put the shoes back in a rack. I was a shoe salesman when I was younger. I'll finish this software. I'll throw in an extra plugin for the software that I program. Just because I think it's gonna be better. Just offer more. Even with my clients, when I was a programmer and a designer, I would just give a tad more. Not enough to destroy myself. Oh no, not enough to hurt. I was not in a state of sacrifice. I was not a victim, and I was not being abused. I was genuinely always give a little more. In Spain, there's a few people that say my religion is called propinismo. So instead of Buddhism, it's tipism, to give tips. So whenever I ask in a country, what's the average tip, I double that. So a good tip, well, I double except in Canada because it's already 20%. Let's say it's 5%. I give 10. I give 15. Let's say this, you just leave a few coins. I'll leave a little bill. Nothing to break me. Because in these actions of offering more, compassion for yourself is to never hurt your own finances and your own resource doing that. Always care for, if you cannot give money, you don't give money. You'll find places in the world where you can give a little more without expecting validation. Okay? So the tip is just like it surprised people when I'm supposed to give €3 tip and I give 15 or 20. I mean, in Canada, on €100 meal, when I take a bill for all the table, let's say it's €100, I'll leave 20, of course. And the Europeans like, oh my God, you're generous. Well, it's more than what we give here, and I can afford it. I'm not hurting myself. And another time, I just won't pick the bill. I respect. I can't always do it, but when I can, this I do. So this is an example of my personal life. I found ways where can I give just a little extra than normal society, just to let some out. Okay. This allows us to go into another parenthesis or another topic. We spend most of our life pulling from the outside. Love me. Love me, give me attention. Do you care for me? Did you like that? Uh-huh. I said a joke. Do you laugh? Could you pass me the salt? And then if you ask someone for the salt, can you pass me the salt? You're expecting them to love you. If they don't pass the salt, you'll be, why did you pass the salt? Don't you love me? Your subconscious interprets everything as love me constantly. We're pulling in, love me all the time. At that point, it builds a pressure inside, and it's too much. Okay. I like to explain the building metaphor. On high skyscrapers, there's a fan, there's a building, and there's a big fan that sucks the air up. No, I'm sorry. It pushes the air down. So it takes the air from the sky and pushes it down into the building. Okay. Because if the fans would suck the air to push it out on the roof, when you open the door at the floor level of the street, when you open the door, it will suck in all the bad air from with the cars and the smokers and the pollution. So the big ventilation system on the top of skyscrapers, they take the air from above, which is usually above where pollution or the best quality of air possible, and pushes it down. And that makes a phenomenon that once you open the door at a commerce center or a business building, there's a little wind coming out at the level. Okay. So this fan pushing air into the building causes a positive pressure in the building, and then the air has to come out and come out as the little street. Okay. So I explain this just so you understand the dynamics of fluids in the air, so that you can understand the dynamics of fluids in consciousness. The more you pull in, the more you build a positive pressure at the karmic level. There's positive karma built here, okay? And then it has to come out. And life will force that once you have pulled arrogantly and greedily too much attention and love. And it will come out by force. So it will be pulled out of you through suffering, little experiences, insults, aggression around you, just so that some of it can leave. Okay. So imagine that if instead of always wanting something for yourself, you would be offering the best you can, just offering in simple things that doesn't hurt you, but you give the love. So instead of asking the love inside, give it. Let's let it go, give it away. At one point, you will have given the love by being helpful without expecting validation, whether there was validation or not. You were offering just to offer. The result is you're making place inside you, and it will make a negative pressure. You'll have a negative pressure, not a negative bad, a negative in the sense of amount of dynamics of fluids, okay, the mechanics of fluid. So you'll have a space and some kind of vacuum of love inside, and the universe will come to fill it back. So as you are kind and you throw your love outside on others the way they want it, of course, then that excess love you put out, the universe karmically is trying to get it back to you to balance. And then you have blessings that comes to you would never expect. Your synchronicity augments. The intuitions you got, the feelings of everything will be fine and how to do things, everything is so much accelerated because you allowed your heart to have enough space for the universe to give some back. So if you do a visualization, oh, my heart is open and empty and available for the universe, that is useless, okay? This is wishful thinking in the new age world. It might open your chakra, give you a little feels, but that's not it. You want your heart to be open, act with kindness to people who want it. Okay, so forcing your kindness down the throat of someone who doesn't want it, it's useless. Okay, doing an act of kindness where it is not wanted people find that annoying, oh no, let me help you with your box. And the other, no, let's just leave the box alone. I'm good now. And then you try to help anyway and you screw their balance and don't force the help or the charity on others because you could become annoying. Okay, so be careful to be respectful. But in a kind way, there's a way to make it flow. You will be creative. You will be successful in finding ways how you can just help someone or be kind. It can be just a smile. Let someone take a seat in the bus. There's so many possibilities. Just be creative. Find it. Okay. So through your actions, this is where you push all the excess love out and finally make your heart open and free. And the universe, through causality, karma, okay, this is called good karma, it comes and brings blessing in a way that you probably would not have imagined how wonderful it can be. Okay? So that was the half-hour satsang about kindness and charity and why we should do that. We should do that because we want to be more a soul instead of a human. Why do we want to be a soul more than a human? To de-dramatize every human suffering we have. Why do we want to de-dramatize? It's simply to stop needing all the attention all the time so that you can be on a spiritual path of communion, so that you're not stuck in the egocentric self-realization for myself or the victimized, oh God save me, and wait for the universe to do it for yourself. So basically there's a chain of dynamics here where simple kindness is actually the key to de-dramatize your life and make you go faster in your evolution. All right. I'm going to cut this video because I want this class to have a specific title, and I will start a new one where you will ask simple questions. Yeah.